made the move to Madras, I realized that I should live in Madras. And I started out by renting a house in the city. And a girlfriend of mine from the United States, Linda Ballou, came over to live with me. And we started writing articles together for magazines to make a little extra money. But at the same time, I was also continuing with this venom production. But I realized that living in the city wasn't the right thing. So I, again, lucked out by finding a house, again, for a very similar amount, 150 rupees a month. I could rent a house, which was quite a big house, out in a village near a place called Salayur on the Velachery Road south of Madras. And this is the place where I thought I'd set up a snake park, because right next door to it was another piece of land which was available to me just for a song, which had, it was just one of those interesting coincidences. They had made a foundation for what was going to be a mansion. And to make the foundation, they made these walls and then dug, the walls were all these different rooms, okay? And then they filled it with earth and rubble so that they could start construction. But they ran out of money for some reason, so they never did that. So all we had to do was take out the rubble and earth, and we had 10 snake pits, just made to order. Okay, so we had to do a bit of smoothing on some of the sides. But other than that, it was just like, for a very little bit of money, we had 10 snake pits. So all we had to do was make a nice roof over the top. The Urdulas were there, and they were pretty desperate by that time because the snakeskin industry was closing down, and they were then considered to be poachers. So they were very willing to bring snakes and frogs to feed the snakes and rats to feed the snakes to me. And I'd pay a decent rate for them. And same time extract venom and sell venom. But then it became obvious that I was doing something. I could do anything. I could eventually become a filmmaker, or I could, whereas Urdulas aren't going to be able to do anything but continue to catch snakes. That's their job. So I'm not saying I'm that altruistic and all that, but I must have thought this is actually what they should be doing. So what we started doing first was collecting snakes and selling them to Haffkine Institute. And I'd have to go through the whole process of bagging them and boxing them, taking them to Central Station in Madras and send them in the brake van. It was all very complicated, but the profit that we made, we split between the Urdulas and myself. And then we started realizing, but we already know how to produce venom and to dry it. So why shouldn't we be producing the venom instead of sending it to Haffkine? So, and the idea of me doing it is pretty selfish. Why shouldn't the Urdulas do it? So that evolved. I mean, in discussion with the Urdulas, we worked out a system by which they could do it. And then by that time, I had government friends or friends who knew about government stuff. And they said, what you should do in a case like this is to set up a cooperative society. And it becomes a registered quasi-semi-government operation, wherein the Urdulas, could be given permission by the forest department to extract venom and sell it. So this sounded great. And if I only knew at that moment how much trouble that was going to be, because working with the government is no fun at all. And first of all, how can you let poachers do something legal? So this was 1978, okay, that we formed this cooperative. And we actually registered it. But to get permission to do what the cooperative is going to do took us till 1982. It took us 4 years. And 4 years of really intense work. And I drank so many cups of tea in the Madras Secretariat that I almost drowned. And it was just crazy. And it would be one succession of forest secretary after the other until finally the right guy was in the right place, who said, this sounds like a very reasonable idea. And they gave us the permission. But 4 years of effort to do this. And there were so many ups and downs, but it worked. And from 1982 to 2022, they are producing most of the venom being supplied to produce the antivenom, which is saving literally hundreds of thousands of lives. And the IRLAs hardly have a clue what good they're doing. They really don't. I've tried to explain to them many, many times what a big thing they are doing. And they say, oh, it's fine, but they're not paying us enough. And, So, yeah, it was probably the most successful thing I ever did in my life. And again, it wasn't just me. It was me and my colleagues. Shekhar Dattatri was involved. A lady called Revati Mukherjee, who was the daughter of Govind Swaminathan, one of the most famous lawyers in India, was part of it. My former wife, Zai, was part of it. There was a group of us making this happen. And the fact that it's still growing strong and still leading the charge in production of antivenom is quite an incredible thing.